Kача по Тисині, Пливе Кача по Тисині. Мамко моя, не лай мені, мамко моя, не лай мені.
So today we're speaking with two members of the Montreal-based Ukrainian folk group Cheremshina, and they happen to be my mother and my aunt. So I'm wondering if you can introduce yourselves and speak about all the members of the group.
Well, my name's Claudia Melnick. I'm Tanya's mother, and my sister.
I'm Lydia Rudich. I'm her aunt.
And we have one other member who's not here now, Nadine Swetko, and she happens to be married to Tanya's godfather, so it's kind of a very intimate group.
So today I actually want to ask you about a recording of a song that you did years ago. The song is Plyve Kача. So when did you record that song, and on what album did it appear?
We recorded that song in 1988, I believe, so that would have been our third album, and Cheremshyna 3. We heard the song in 1987 because we were always looking for new material. And we had these old Melodia records from, the Ukrainian SSR at the time, and came across this beautiful song called Plyve Kача по Тисині, and it was sung by a solo voice, a lovely soprano. Her name, Pavlina Bidzilia, and it was recorded on an album of the Transcarpathian folk choir, and it was directed by, I'm going to tell you right away, Mykola Popenko. So we heard it, and we found the melody hauntingly beautiful, and of course, since we're a trio, we expanded it to 3-part harmony. So we did that, and then we added another little addition to it, a musical, just humming, and which we put together because we just felt it conveyed the emotion of the song.
So I want to ask more about that, but before that, coming back to the origin of the song. So some people say it's a Lemko song, other people have different ideas about where this song originally came from. Do you want to say a little bit about that?
I honestly don't know. I can't say. The Zakarpatski Chor recorded it, so I'm sort of leaning that that's where the origin is. I've heard people say it's Lemko, but I couldn't say for sure. And
so this original Melodia recording that you heard, you have a sample here today.
Of the original, yes, I do.
Do you want to play it?
See if we can call that up.
So this served as the inspiration for your development.
That's right.
That then took place.
That's right.
Ей, пливе Кача по Тисині, Пливе Кача по Тисині. Мамко моя, не лай мені, мамко моя, не лай мені.
So that recording was the inspiration for what you then did with the song. So how did you adapt the song for your purposes artistically? What were the changes you made? What did you add musically? And where did those inspirations come from?
So we obviously put into 3-part harmony that works for us. And we added that, I don't want to call it an introduction because it appears several times in the middle of the song and at the end as well.
You want to just sing it so people know? So you wrote that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that was kind of a collaboration during a rehearsal, and I don't remember what the inspiration for it was.
It's odd, actually.
It's an odd
There's
one,
an
yeah.
interesting
Because
story. I've heard about that.
At
yes.
that time, I can't remember the name of the Midnight Oil.
Yeah,
Was the name of
that's
the
it.
group from, I believe, Australia.
Yeah.
And they were singing something that was popular on the radio at the time called Beds Are Burning. And there was something in the
That's
quality of their, some rawness in that, in the way, or passion that they were expressing vocally, that we felt would help to add to the song as well. And it wasn't that we copied anything that they sang, but it was just the emotion, the emotional intent. And it's kind of funny. And the irony is that song itself is a protest song. I believe it has to do with defending the rights of the Aboriginal people in Australia. So it was kind of interesting how the song kind of takes its form somehow. It has its own path, a very creative path of its own.
In what parts? So when you added these parts, and then some of these parts got incorporated as part of the song. Like some people now think that was the original part of the song. So what does that say about folk music and how it expresses itself? How would you understand that?
I just find
yeah.
about that being incorporated. It always it's almost humbling because here we did something, our passion, our emotion to make the song special, and that's been adopted almost universally. Even I think there was a cave string quartet or whatever that was performing this in Europe, and even the strings were playing that piece of music that we introduced to that song. So that song came to us, and we made whatever our contribution to it, and it went back out to Ukraine and to the world, and it's come back again, and we hear it now. That which we added, we hear it, and it's humbling that so many people have accepted that.
And another little anecdote, I suppose, for anyone who had followed Ukrainian popular music, very well-known and popular, well-loved ensemble from Ukraine was Vatra. And they came to Montreal, and we met with them. And their first question to us when we saw them, their very first question was, "Where did you find that song about that duck swimming on the river?" At first we thought, what are they talking about? Then we said, that one. And they performed it. In fact, we went to a concert while they were here, and Lemko sang the song with a slight change of her own. And I talked about this with Ihor Bilozir, who was the head of the ensemble, and his words: "The essence of a folk song is the way it develops over time as people add to it and change it, making it their own." And I think that's what happened with this song. It's traveled back and forth, and people change it here and there. But that's what folk music is.
In 2014, you noticed that people in Ukraine were using your recording as a way to mark the Maidan, or the Revolution of Dignity as it was known, protesting corruption, and also protesting the Russian invasion at that time and the illegal annexation of Crimea. How did it make you feel to see people in Ukraine using your recording in that way?
I think the most humbling video that I saw was of a procession through streets, a village actually, not a street, through roads, heading towards a village, and in the car was the coffin of somebody who was killed during the revolution, and they were driving this along the road and playing our song in the car, and as they were driving by, people were falling on their knees with respect to these people who gave their lives for dignity. They're of Ukraine and Ukrainian people. To me, I just, it almost brings you to tears. It's very humbling.
I think when I first heard that they were using this song regularly to represent what was going on, I was filled with tears. I couldn't believe it. And the song itself, of course, it represents, the passion of so many things on so many levels. I mean, we're talking about victims of war and all that, but we're also talking about mothers losing their sons, losing their children, not knowing where they will be buried, not knowing, if they're going to live, recalling how they held them to their breast to feed them as babies. This is something that all mothers can relate to, and so it's got that universal passion for.
It's like almost like a mother's lament. The words "Ty na moim serці лежав." It's exactly that, as a mother cradles her child. But it isn't. As she said, we used to sing the song before the Revolution of Dignity. We sang it 1990, I guess it was, when we were all celebrating the celebration of 100th year of Ukrainian settlement in Canada, because there too, our grandparents, they came from Ukraine. They never went back. They never saw their mother. Their mother never saw them again. And it's that bond, it's that tie. And so this song, it goes beyond just war. It became like the second anthem or of the Revolution of Dignity. But it can be applied in a much wider, context. Yeah.
And of course, there was other groups that picked that song up at that time. Do you want to say a little bit about that?
I think we were flattered when Plyve Kacha does their own version, which is very popular. They're also exceptional, an exceptional vocal group, and the fact that they used our little composition in their own, performance it's flattering.
I remember watching an episode of, I think it was America Has Talent or Ukraine Has Talent, one of those talent shows, and there was a girl with her bandura singing this song and with that same introduction. So it's almost like if you go on the internet and you look up that song, it's almost every single artist has got that little introduction. So it's just amazing. I still am amazed at how far it went. So we discovered it in 1987, and here we are, 2023, and people are still singing that song. Still valid.
And it was even maybe more reason because of what's happening in Ukraine today.
Yeah, and you sort of answered my question, but my next question was, what is this song about, in your view? If there's anything else you might want to say?
I think we said it. I feel it's a mother's lament. Although there are words where he says, who's going to dig my grave? It's his, but he's talking, I think, to his mother. So it's that relationship.
It's just, don't be upset with me, don't be angry with me. He's gone. Whether it's to war or to another country, or we don't know the circumstance, but he's gone, and he's saying, don't be angry with me. I don't know where I'm going to die. I don't know who's going to dig my grave. Will you miss me? I mean...
And so this is relevant today as we think of the genocide that's occurring in Ukraine now, the ongoing destruction of Ukraine's cultural heritage, the people who are dying on the front, the people who are being horrifically murdered, and the refugees. The song would be applicable to all of these people.
Very
Absolutely.
Very much so.
I think you've answered it, but what is, in your view, the most impactful aspect of this song?
In terms of words? Is that what you mean? Or
any way you want to answer that?
I think just the passion of it, the emotion of it.
How it speaks to people.
Yeah, you can respond, as we were saying, in so many levels. under so many circumstances, you know, whether it's war or leaving or whatever. So that emotion, that raw emotion, and the love of a mother to her children and back, and her child to his mother.
Mm-hmm. And in a sense, too, what we're talking about here is activism in art, and how we can use song to express resistance to oppression, resistance to this genocide that's occurring right now. There's a political dimension to it, that art is, or music is, song is powerful in that way.
And it also unites people. Those who are suffering have there's something they have in common, and this kind of pulls them together as well. It's an experience that they have. It's an expression of their experience. Right? Yeah.
Well, I'd like to thank you both for sharing your stories of how you came to this song, how you've developed it, where it's gone, where it's going. Hopefully,
I hope many more people keep singing it.
Right.
It's worth it.
Yeah, it'll continue to evolve.
Beautiful song. It's hauntingly beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Пливе Кача по Тисині, Пливе Кача по Тисині. Мамко моя, не лай мені, мамко моя, не лай мені. Залаєш мій в злу годину, залаєш мій в злу годину. Сам не знаю, де погину, сам не знаю, де погину. Погину я в чужім краю, погину я в чужім краю. Хто не буде брати яму? Хто не буде брати? Виберуть мій чужі люди, виберуть мій чужі люди. Чи не жаль ти, мамко, буде? Чи не жаль ти, мамко, буде? серці лежав, ти на моїм серці лежав.
Okay.